So when you need to break through some defenses, Warrior has your back. I think this class is kind of slept on, even by me, mostly because I don't have that much time to demo, and I'm sure that's what most people's reason is. But this class has some interesting things that you need to know about. All right, so first of all, what does Warrior do? It is basically an armor killer, but it also hits really hard. Now, in the case of Morden here, he has offensive, which is probably the best thing for Warrior. I don't think it wants to be fast because typically the things it's going to be killing are slow. So having like lower initiative or average initiative is fine because tanks tend to be very slow. So his initiative of 17 should be good enough. But let's look at the details. So they're really good against fighters and hoplites because both of those are considered armor. They also can hit hard because they're on hammers and axes, which tend to have high attack values. And in this case of being on offensive, he has 25 physical attack without any boosts from like dues or anything like that, or like stat boosters. So if you stat boost a warrior, they'll be even more crazy. But essentially, they're just a standard infantry with 100 mobility, 6 stamina, and they don't really have weaknesses per se. The game says their weaknesses are like thief, but I don't really like, that's like saying mage has a weakness of thief. I just don't think it's really a weakness. Now it can be if you don't have like true strike on your team, but as long as you have a lance user, you have true strike or an archer. So either way, but it basically has few weaknesses and it should kind of sit on the back lines. Generally, it's going to want to sit in the back lines. The reason for this is it's not that durable itself, so it wants some kind of protection. So in this case, I have a thief for a frontliner, and then I have a lane who can block other allies, so he has protection. And then also for skills, so the skills, this is where it gets interesting. So first of all, both of the attacks are unblockable, so they always hit through guard no matter what. The first one ignores 100% of defense versus armored targets, typically allowing the warrior to one-shot hoplites and one-shot fighters. Now, in some of these endgame team comps, there's annoying things like there'll be like 3 radiant knights that will keep row healing and negating magic on like a frontline hoplite. So this is one of the few things that can just hit right through that. But also, it's a physical, unblockable guard killer. Like, what do you do? Like, they can't block it. The only thing they can really do is like shaman debuff the warrior. That's it. And you can cleanse it. So basically this can just kill armors. And I do have a cleanse in this team too. I have a cleanse through refresh. So I can basically always kill armors no matter what with my opening attack with this unit in most situations. Now also, the key thing here is at level 10, you get Assaulting Blow. And what does this do? Attack a single enemy, grants +1 AP if the target is defeated, but it's unguardable. This is crazy as hell because this can be used. There's so many teams where the Assaulting Lance does not kill them because they will block the attacks and reduce the damage. This just doesn't care about that and just smacks right through them anyways. So this could be one of the best looping skills for killing like enemy cav squads because cavs can block, for killing enemy tank squads because tanks can block. So it just hits really hard because it's unguardable, because guard reduces damage, right? So if you get guarded, medium guard is 50% damage reduction, heavy guard is 75. So these two things, this opens up an enemy formation to Assaulting Blow. So if this is your opening move and you have like 2 active points and then you start Assaulting Blowing, you should be able to just wipe through things better than some things. And Warrior might have a place in the metagame. It might be like an S tier class that I think a lot of people are sleeping on. And then also this passive skill is very good as well. Binding Guard. User's next attack will inflict Guard Seal. Activates before attacking with active skill. So this thing just allows it, like it pretty much just it disables guard, right? So any enemy who is guarding will be debuffed. Now, if you're going to one-shot with Heavy Smash, you could hold off on this so it's a second action. Or, I don't know if you can delay it in that way. There's probably a way to delay it so it doesn't activate off of Heavy Smash. You can probably delay it. But user's next attack will inflict Guard Seal. So it just allows future attacks to be unguardable, regardless of the source, which is still valuable, especially against like bosses and stuff. But it basically just bypasses guard and hits really hard. It punishes the high defense enemies completely. And it also punishes anything that tries to guard to reduce damage, no matter what it is. and just hits through with big physical damage. And the only thing that can really mess with it is like a shaman, which are kind of uncommon, and you can just cleanse the shaman's debuffs and you're fine. And then also for the Valor skill, you have Heavy Swing, physical potency 50, destroys barricades, also damages enemies for some chip damage. This is decent, but really the Assaulting Blow here is probably the thing that would make this class S tier, maybe even like S plus if it just turns out to be insanely broken. But here's the build I'm running for now. So we have Black Iron Axe, which gives you pretty big physical attack and some crits. That's it though. I don't know why it says toggle info. You get Warrior's Medallion for more physical attack. You get plus 10%, plus 2 physical attack, and plus more crits. And then you also can run Mercenary's Eye Patch for plus more crits. Now, if you want to have more attacks, you could switch either of these out for Carnelian Pendant. So that way you always have your opening attack. So for example, I don't have level 10 yet on him yet, but you could Heavy Smash, and then you could, like for your first action, so we could do like own condition. What is it? It's in here somewhere. Own condition, first action, and then you could have Assaulting Blow be your second action and target HP lowest. And you could also target for lowest defense as well, but you can target HP lowest and just go for kills, and then just keep repeating and killing. Now, the nice thing about this class is it can use hammers or axes, so any hammer or axe. So for example, if you want to take this Rose Knight axe from Fran, you can do that. It gives you hit plus 10, which is very useful for axes. The Warhammer improves guard rate, funny enough. I don't think this is as good. The guard rate doesn't really matter for this class. It shouldn't be guarding anyways. Crushing Axe can be useful because then you gain the Crush ability. So you could switch between, I would say, Crushing Axe, Black Iron Axe, and Rose Knight Axe. Rose Knight Axe for hit fixing, Black Knight Axe for damage and crit rate, Crushing Axe for stun utility. So if you don't have an armor to break and you want to stun something, this can be good. Now, Initiative 17 isn't the best, so if you're going for a stun, I'd probably drop Warrior's Medallion for Dove Plume. So you get Initiative plus 10, so that way you can open with a stun for big damage and then start going for the looping attack in Assaulting Blow. But Sellsword, Knight, and Warrior all have the defeat a thing, gain 1 AP attacks, but this one is unguardable. So that's huge because guard just like seriously reduces damage and is usually the thing that stops some of these team comps from popping off, because like attacks will keep getting guarded and the damage keeps getting reduced. So this can be a big deal for just like dropping, you know, those specific enemies that guard, because there are a lot of enemies that guard. But that's it for this one. Definitely like and subscribe if you enjoyed this or found this useful. Feel free to comment your warrior builds down in the comments, and I will check them out, and I'll see you next one. Peace.